And so I think that's the biggest thing that sets us apart, is just being able to give legal advice from a perspective of actually, hey, we've been here, we know these decisions are tough. Because for us, right, it's like, I want to see my clients win too. I don't want to just kind of take their money and give them some pieces of paper and peace of mind, right? I want to give them good advice and help them grow and help them reach the success that they're looking for.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street, the show devoted to small business success. And this week we're fortunate to have Nick Troxel. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you very much, Gordon. It's a pleasure to be on.
Great to have you. So before we get started, brief intro on Nick. Nick Troxel, with his law partner, Josh Fitch, founded Troxel Fitch LLC 4 years ago in Denver. Troxel Fitch is a law firm for today's entrepreneur. They help clients in a variety of ways, including raising capital, completing acquisitions. They bring a refreshing, knowledgeable, and practical outlook on business law. They provide guidance on the entire business life cycle relevant to high-growth startups. They're fun-loving, but serious about protecting your business. And Nick and Josh were recently featured in Fortune and Forbes. So what's unique about your firm from the entrepreneur standpoint? What makes you different? Why should an entrepreneur work with you versus any other, well-respected Colorado law firm?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that sets us apart is that we are entrepreneurs, right? We don't just think about entrepreneurship from a theoretical perspective. We know that struggle of trying to make a dream a reality. And so I think that's the biggest thing that sets us apart, is just being able to give legal advice from a perspective of actually, hey, we've been here, we know these decisions are tough. Because for us, right, it's like, I want to see my clients win too. I don't want to just kind of take their money and give them some pieces of paper and peace of mind, right? I want to give them good advice and help them grow and help them reach the success that they're looking for.
Yeah. So tell us some of the key areas where you help entrepreneurs. What's a typical engagement like? Your website lists a ton of areas you cover: mergers and acquisitions, real estate, equity, debt transactions, business contracts, intellectual property. I mean, it sounds like you cover the waterfront. What's the typical engagement that you get when an entrepreneur walks in the door?
For the most part, a typical engagement may be something like, hey, I'm starting a business and I'm wondering, what type of entity should I form? Or even as simple as, should I form an entity, right? And helping people walk through, hey, this is what limited liability protection is. This is why you should form an LLC or a corporation. These are the benefits to doing different types of business entities. Helping people put together those organizational documents amongst owners, saying, hey, who makes decisions? How is money split up? What happens if one of us dies? What happens if one of us becomes disabled? Things like that. That's a big chunk of our practice. Another big piece is just contract drafting and review. So everything from, hey, I'm providing services or I'm selling goods. I just want to get in place a contract that I can present to my customers. Or on the flip side, hey, I've been presented this contract. Can you review it? Can you let me know if there are holes in it? Things like that. And then, yeah, on the more what I call kind of more sophisticated end, we do financings and mergers and acquisitions. That's, hey, we're raising money. We need to make sure we're complying with securities laws. We're properly papering things up, things like that. And then the mergers and acquisitions, that's just a fancy lawyer thing to say, hey, buying and selling businesses, right? On the real estate front, we do, I'd say about 20% of my practice is the real estate, 80% is what I just described. And most of that is tied to buying, selling, leasing related to the M&A work we do. So somebody's buying a business, they're buying the building with it. Somebody's selling a business, they're selling a building with it. Somebody's buying a business, the owner still owns the building, so they need to sign a new lease, things like that. So from a very, very, brief perspective, we do basically fine print law, right? Any fine print you see, somebody like me is reading, writing, reviewing it, editing it, negotiating it, things like that.
So, Nick, what are some of the mistakes entrepreneurs make in terms of legal exposure? I mean, there's so many stories out there about entrepreneurs who've tried and failed for various reasons. Some of it is probably that they haven't properly gotten advice from somebody like yourself. As you think about your clientele over the years, what are some of the maybe typical mistakes that you've seen people make?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest ones that people make is actually not forming an entity to do their business through. There's a lot of people who still operate just like with a trade name, which makes you a sole proprietor, or if you have a partner, it'd be a general partnership, because they're intimidated by kind of that undertaking of forming a legal entity, setting up separate bank accounts, putting in place the legal paperwork. For a lot of people, those things seem intimidating, and it scares them away from doing that. And that's one thing that we see a lot. And frankly, it is probably the riskiest thing that you could do, because the idea behind limited liability is that, when you start a business, if you have one of these limited liability entities in place, and you're properly, you're maintaining separate bank accounts, you're operating this entity as a separate legal entity from yourself as an individual. If something were to happen to the company, you face suit or anything like that, somebody can collect against the assets of the company, but they're not able to come after your personal assets. And so I would say that's the biggest mistake we often see, because if people don't take that step to form a legal entity, not only are they putting at risk their business, they're putting at risk everything they own. And so what we really aim to do is just try to make the law a little bit more approachable and digestible for our clients as well, and not just kind of say, hey, here's the legal advice or the documents you asked for, but helping them understand it as well, helping them understand why it's important, how it fits into their business, what risks it mitigates, why, certain things are a higher priority than other things, right?
Yeah. So, Nick, how do you recommend an entrepreneur go about hiring a trustworthy attorney? I mean, sure, they should probably hire you. How do they evaluate somebody?
In terms of finding a good lawyer you trust, it's all about, hey, do some initial internet research, whittle down some people in your area, and meet a couple in person. And I would highly advise against price shopping, just because it's a trusted relationship, right? It's something that you hope, is an ongoing relationship, and that it's somebody that you can call, and that, we'll be able to answer your questions, and that you trust our opinion.
We're chatting with Nick Troxel of Troxel Fitch LLC, a law firm for entrepreneurs. We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us. At Winning on Main Street, we love speaking with successful entrepreneurs and hearing about their amazing journeys. And here's one we definitely recommend: The $1 Million Bakery. If you want to read an inspirational story of someone who dropped out of high school and built $1 million business with no previous experience, you must check out The $1 Million Bakery. It's the self-told story of Rebecca Hamilton, the CEO of Chick Boss Cake, a successful bakery business in Toronto, Canada, that we highlighted in Winning on Main Street episode 116. Rebecca is a dynamic speaker, and in her book, she shares her amazing story with the hope of inspiring others to create the life of their dreams. Again, the book is The $1 Million Bakery, and it's available through Amazon and other retail outlets. Oh yeah, if you're anywhere near Toronto, go check out Chick Boss Cake's 3 locations, where you can get fantastic bakery items of all kinds. And we're back with Nick Troxel of Troxel Fitch LLC. And you said that you normally want to do the phone call with somebody to help them determine whether you're the right fit. So just to map it out for people who may be listening and thinking about contacting you, you would recommend they do what in terms of finding you and speaking with you? Should they go to your website? What are the proper first steps?
Absolutely, yeah. So we actually so our kind of office manager page. So typically the process is that they would either reach out to our office at 303-801-1763 or info@troxelfitchlaw.com. Those are both on our website, troxelfitchlaw.com. And they either call in and chat with Paige, or submit a form via our online portal. That way she knows enough about the areas of law that we do that she can help kind of vet the people who just don't have an issue that we would be a good fit for. And then the next step would be if, either A, she'll refer them out to someone who we trust that can handle that, or B, she sets them up for a quick 15-minute intro call with either Josh or I. That's when Josh or I kind of assess like, hey, kind of do the second cut, right? Hey, is this something we can help with? Or is this just a quick question? Or is this not really our area of expertise? And then from there, we always offer people I always say, hey, we'd love to meet in person. Let's have you come by the office. Like I said, a lot of people, especially with COVID, just have kind of gone away from that. But then from there, once we assess, hey, this is what you need to have done, this is the work you're looking to have done, we we quote them a price and say, hey, either A, we oftentimes work, one of the things that we do that's different than a lot of law firms, I think, is we work on a flat fee a lot instead of just strictly hourly, but we always offer both options. Sometimes people like to do hourly better, but basically then we talk about, hey, this is what the pricing will look like. And then from there, we follow up with our e-signature for the engagement letter, which is just the agreement between them and our firm saying, hey, this is what we've agreed we'll do for you for this price. And then, from there, basically, we just start executing on the project. So yeah, really the best first step is to just submit a form via the website or email the info Troxel Fitch or call. I don't know if I can follow up with that kind of info in writing at some point. It might be easier for people to just have that info in writing, but that is the best way to do it, just because of what I do, the doing the legal work requires quite a bit of focus to make sure we're executing it properly. And so if I took every kind of initial call, I just would never be able to do the work. And so we have a kind of tiered process like that, but we do offer the free 15-minute call. So for a lot of people, that's all they need.
Excellent. Well, Nick, I want to thank you for stopping by. Great to have you on the show.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much for having me.
And if you are out there and enjoyed this podcast, please tell a friend or colleague to subscribe, and please leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Helps us in the rankings. Until next time, make it a great week.